Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Mariya. This channel is about spirituality and energy. Please subscribe below so we can be YouTube friends. I wanted to share a quick observation with you guys. You know, I do a lot of energy readings on the collective. And there's something that I noticed in the month of March, and a little bit in the month of February, that feels like a theme that is here to stay. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to title this video, A Tale of Two Cities, or A Split in Our Reality, for it truly feels like that. This is the first time that I'm truly present to the degree of, or rather the chasm that exists between the different people living in the same timeline as we are. You see, timelines are very often homogeneous. So if we are in a particular timeline, there is a collective reality that is usually shared by all of humanity on that timeline. There are timelines that are doom and gloom, and there are timelines that are quite beautiful. And usually, what you notice is that if it's a doom and gloom timeline, then most people in that timeline are going to be vibrating in that doom and gloom frequency. And if it is, I call it paradise found timeline, most of the people on that timeline are going to be vibrating at that frequency. What we have right now is both on planet Earth. We're experiencing a split reality. We are experiencing both to a great degree at the same time. And I think that really must mean that the transition from lower vibrational Earth to higher vibrational Earth is in full swing. Because at this point, it's really hard to make predictions depending on which group, I guess, you subscribe to. Your predictions are going to be very, very different. So what is the split that I'm seeing? I would call one split, like one side of that split, war. And I would call the other peace. It's really the war and peace dynamics. But it's also something deeper than that. And this is just the beginning. Something tells me that we're walking into that split. And with time, that chasm is only going to continue to grow. The month of March was a great example of what happened. You have a certain subset of the population that had a fantastic March. Things were going up and to the right, as they say in business. They were going right for these people. Everything was blooming and flourishing, and the spring has sprung energy and new beginnings and sprouting and just so heartwarming and beautiful. And I certainly belong to this group. And then you have a second group, which is a larger group that really struggled with March because of the conflict of the war in the Middle East, which is not the only war, but there was a major escalation, as you all know. And the protests and everything else that created an entire set of ripple effects. So you have the other group that spend the month of March in fear, that spend the month of March in anxiety, in uncertainty, being concerned, not feeling safe, etc., etc. I could keep going. And their March was dramatically different from the first group. It's almost like they are not even living in the same world. It's almost like they're not even watching the same movie. It's like their reality is truly split. As I look into the future, I'm very often shown a particular facet of that future that I would dub smart cities. This is a vision that is not going away. Of course, smart cities is a global agenda. And there are a number of smart cities, or future smart cities, that are being groomed right now. As you tap into the energies of those cities, life is starting to leak out of them. That pure, natural, organic life force that I'm talking about, as opposed to technology-driven, AI, inorganic matrix force. Smart cities are going to be very prevalent on Earth 10, 15 years into the future. and extremely prevalent 25 years into the future. Those are going to be the cities owned by AI, where everything is going to be automated to death, pun intended. Where everything is going to be mathematically precise, no room for error. But there will be no room for a lot of other things as well. I've been sensing the shift in the grids of certain cities. In the United States, for instance, San Francisco feels very different than it felt even 5-10 years ago. You can feel the AI grid coming through and starting to choke the life out of the city. I don't have to be in San Francisco all that often, but I go about once a year. And it truly does feel like the inorganic interface is very, very strong in SF. And of course, Silicon Valley. Let's not forget about that. The hub of AI. Why would it be anything but? But cities like New York, for instance, that's a future smart city as well. Dubai is the city that smart cities is going to be modeled after. I've also heard, I actually have not been to Dubai, but for my friends that have gone, a lot of them have mentioned, the spiritual friends, that it is the hardest city that they've ever been to as far as meditating and connecting to higher powers. And that pretty much defines the smart city. Because right now, none of the cities are truly smart cities yet. None. It's just the very early stages of what smart cities are going to feel like and what life in them is going to be like. But it's like a complex dream state scenario where on the one hand, human beings have access to crazy luxuries and all manner of progress and technology, of course. But on the other hand, nobody is really living their purpose and everybody is just serving the system. Of course, there is another world, because usually you have polarity, and that is conscious communities. Conscious communities are going to be many. If smart cities are clusters, right? They're very obsessed with these clusters. A lot of people, a lot of starseeds, a lot of light workers, however you want to call it, a lot of you awakened beings watching this video right now are going to be inspired to co-create conscious communities, things that are the antithesis to a smart city, things where people live in communion with nature, where nature is being appreciated and worshipped, where connection to higher powers is not an accidental thing, but a daily ritual and a daily reality. Conscious communities are going to be built on completely new grids. They are going to be the new places of power. And they're going to be just as powerful as the places of power of the old. And Mother Gaia has been preparing to create clusters of the land, or within the land, to birth these conscious communities. And I know that for some of you, even as I say these words, if it is your calling in life, if you descended into this incarnation to build the antithesis to smart cities, you're going to start sensing it in this video. It's a pull, it's a calling, it's something bigger than you. It's like this need to protect, to design better, to use your spark, your source spark within, to make more life as opposed to more death. The split is here. It's not just coming. The split is here to stay. Conscious people who are vibrating high are only going to continue vibrating higher. For conscious people, life is going to get easier, not harder. For the other camp, the jury is still out. Make sure you're on the right side of history. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.